Hi everyone, this is Jacqueline Hanna with Food Co-op Initiative.
And this is Bonnie Hudspeth with the neighboring Food Co-op Association.
And this is Food
Co-ops
Now. Hey guys, in this episode, we're going to talk about the hot topic that everyone is talking about in the news, mutual aid.
Wait a minute, I thought these videos were all about food co-ops and the cooperative business model, right?
Right, so we're talking about mutual aid.
Okay, you got to tell me a little bit more.
All right, well, how about actually, I'm going to let a brilliant cooperator, Erin Dalebird, from the board president from Fertile Ground Food Co-op in Raleigh, North Carolina, tell us what mutual aid is.
The mutual aid strategy is really an organizing strategy of community care. What that means is that people in your community will come together to provide a need. And we also believe that communities should control their own resources. We believe in community control of supplies, community control of organization, community collective governing strategy. And that's really like part of the heart of the cooperative movement. So we're blown away by the success of our mutual aid work.
Yes. Okay, Erin, this is such a good reminder to us cooperators because food co-ops and the co-op movement are all about people helping themselves and each other directly, mutual aid, right? And also, organizing a food co-op should be rooted in mutual aid framework because mutual aid and cooperatives are based on the understanding not only that we're all in this together, but that each of us has something unique and important that we bring to the table.
Exactly. I like to think about, actually, when Erin and I were talking, I get to talk with her a little bit about what her co-op's doing. And I said, so when it's kind of like food co-ops are mutual aid 2.0. And we were both like, that's it. It's basically mutual aid is when we bring, as Bonnie said, our talents and our resources to the table to solve the problem together collectively, everyone at the table as an equal. And a food co-op is people bringing together their resources, their vision, their talents to run a grocery store that creates change and addresses a need in a community.
Exactly. And food co-ops are more than just good food, right? They're a lot more than that. And part of that is in the organizing of a food co-op where mutual aid is really cooperation. If we look back throughout the history of our country, the first formal Black-led co-ops in the US were actually called mutual aid societies. And Dr. Jessica Gordon-Emhard lays it out in her amazing book, Collective Courage. There's a lot of really good examples about this. And it's not just in our past, right? Today, we're going to feature some of the incredible mutual aid work being done by startup food co-ops that don't yet have a brick and mortar grocery store, but they're still out in the community organizing to serve their community. And it's happening all across the country. So we're going to talk about the mutual aid work of several startup food co-ops. Who are we going to focus on, Jacqueline?
Well, we're going to focus in on, as you might have gotten the hint earlier with our quote from Erin, we're going to focus in on Fertile Ground Food Co-op in Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, they organized basically to meet a need to not only bring a grocery store into their community, which into their neighborhood, which is needed, and an access for fresh and healthy food, but also to root wealth and jobs within the community that is there that is being quickly displaced by gentrification. So they're actually using it not only as a tool for fresh food and community building, but to fight negative changes within their community. So when COVID-19 hit, as you kind of keep hearing as a theme here, they were in the midst of, they're negotiating a site right now to start building their store. They got a lot on their plate. They're about ready to have to raise all this money, and then COVID-19 hits. And they kind of grouped together and they said, well, we don't have a store yet, but we're a co-op. The community knows us, relies on us, thinks of us as part of them. What can we do? How can we serve the community? So Erin, the board chair, said, I want us to call all our owners, get on the phone and call every single one of them, ask how they're doing, ask if they're okay, ask what their needs are, and ask maybe what they'd like to see the co-op do to address their needs in this difficult moment. Now, Janet, who we're going to hear from in a minute, who's also on the board, Janet Howard, who's on the board, she will say this herself. She was like, I thought Erin was like, she's like, what are you talking about? It's like, we're not going to call and pester everybody. People are losing jobs. People are going through all sorts of upheaval with childcare. Some of our owners are even dealing with homelessness at the moment. Really, we're going to call everybody and pester them right now. That was her word. And they did. They did go forward with it. She suspended her disbelief, and as a board and volunteers, they did. And what they found was, indeed, actually people even she's like, Jan's concern was, we don't have a store. We don't need to offer them. We don't need money. We don't need food to give away. Like, why are we bothering them? We don't need resources. But they do have resources. They found that hundreds of their owners wanted to volunteer, to donate money, to deliver food, to help their neighbors. At first, actually, they had so many people in this community volunteering to donate or to drive food or to help or make phone calls. They had more people who wanted to help than who needed help.
So when millions are unemployed, the amount of helplessness energetically has increased. And, people are vibrating with a sense of, oh my God. And so even unemployed folks volunteered, and they said, like, this, I look forward to doing this. I want to be of service. We gave people a way to help each other, to get connected, to laugh, to do something good. And even if they didn't even have a job, they came out to help because people need to feel belonging right now.
All right. So, and I just wanted to share a little more about some of the details of their success. Now, remember, this is a tiny little startup food co-op. They do not have a store yet. They have, I think, about 600 owners in their community, and they were actually able to make it the numbers here. I'll feel bad if I don't get the exact numbers. Within the first 4 weeks, they were able to connect to a bunch of local farms and actually get 94 families produce boxes full of fresh produce and eggs, all from local farms, or within like 100 miles of where they were. So they helped those farms. They got more food out to the community. They helped 94 families, and 54% of the families that received these food boxes were actually families with children. And there was also some families that are actually helping that were directly homeless. And they actually ended up spending. They got donations. So they bought all this food at retail price to help out these farms. They ended up spending over almost $13,000 in the first 4 weeks buying local food from these farms to get to families. So, and they talk about the incredible number of hours that they donated. It's just, they estimated 642 hours were donated by the community to make phone calls, to deliver, to sort food, you name it. So I just think it's an incredible picture. And Erin speaks to this beautifully. One more thing that people are like, oh, like, so this is this cool thing we can go do. We can like get food to people and donate and do this stuff, but we really run food co-ops. What Erin pointed out was there's nothing more central to being a co-op than what they did right there. They actually got dozens of new members to their food co-op who said this.
It was amazing from there. We sent out a call to the community saying, somebody offered to give food to Fertile Ground to do distribution. We say, we've got somebody willing to give us some free meals and free vegetables. Can anybody help? Does anybody need food? Actually, the first question was, does anybody need help? And what happened was people joined, people gave us money, and people offered to volunteer. And we're like, wait a minute. Does anybody need food, though? Where are y'all that need the food?
So I'm going to give one more quick quote from Janet about just one of the heartfelt, really cool stories about how this touched somebody's life.
Like one older woman, she was just hilarious, but I loved it. She said, this food does me right. And I was thinking to myself, what is she going to say? She said, this food does me right because I'm diabetic and this is the kind of food I need. So that pointed to the fact that Fertile Ground does have a strong need in our community for people's health's sake. A woman, we had cabbage in the box one week, and she said, I haven't cooked cabbage since my mother passed. And it brings back such wonderful memories of her. Now, is that not a tearjerker? One of our community supporters did say she was so impressed with what we did that she is honored to walk alongside Fertile Ground. Alongside Fertile Ground.
So there are other co-ops doing this across the country. Real quick, okay, you mind if I name a few more?
Go for it. Yeah, I'd love to hear.
Sorry. So I want to give a shout out to Suncoast Market. They are out in California, and they are also a startup, and they have been getting actually over 100 food boxes of local food to families in need every single week. And they've been doing that now, I think, for 8-9 weeks. And it's showing no sign of stopping. And then also a quick shout out to African Heritage Food Co-op in Buffalo, New York. Now they're open Very small co-op that's serving, again, a Black-led co-op serving a Black community. And they have not only been getting food to people, they've been delivering it. They've been driving it to people's homes. And if you actually go on their Facebook page, you can see videos of their general manager, Alex, in his car driving the food at the height of the crisis and talking about what it was like to interact with the community and how much it meant to folks. So thank you guys for inspiring us. Just some incredible stories.
Incredible. And, you know, just it's so powerful to hear both startups and established food co-ops weaving mutual organizing into their operations, into how they manifest the co-op's vision and the co-op's purpose for being there in the community. So, woo-woo.
I think when food co-ops are at their very, very best, mutual aid is at the heart of what they're doing, and they find a way to do that, even though they're maybe a small or very big retail grocery store.
Exactly.
All right, I want to hear your shout out this week, Bonnie.
Okay, great. So once again, this is Bonnie Hespeth from the NFCA, and I'm going to shout out Fiddleheads Food Co-op in New London, Connecticut. They began as a kind of a small indoor winter farmers market with a few products and lots of hopes and dreams. And now, just over a decade later, they're a full service store. They're supported by over 3,000 member owners. And I want to highlight that they just helped to lead an advocacy effort to update co-op statutes in their state that were way out of date because they wanted other folks to be able to more easily organize food co-ops. And their tagline is Fiddleheads is more than a store. We are a community. So shout out to Fiddleheads Food Co-op in New London, Connecticut.
Awesome. Shout out to Fiddleheads. And I want to make a quick shout out to Chico Natural Foods in Chico, California. They're a smaller food co-op, but this might at first not seem like something to celebrate. They found out this week that one of their staff had indeed tested positive for COVID-19. Why am I shouting this out? Because Chico Natural Foods from the beginning has done so much to protect their staff, make their store clean and safe, make those policies transparent to the community and their owners so people felt truly safe. And it was no different when they found out someone on their staff was ill. I will tell you right now, there are chains all over the country that have staff that are testing positive and they are not telling anyone. And you're not hearing about it in the news, but it's definitely happening. And at food co-ops, especially the example of Chico, they were transparent about that with the health department, with their owners, with their staff, as quickly as possible to make sure everyone was safe and to put measures in place to keeping people safe. And instead of people thinking, well, I don't want to shop there anymore, they actually had an outflow of love and like, thanks for this transparency, for giving us a reason to trust you, for taking care of people, because we know it's happening at other grocery stores, but no one's telling us, and you are, and you're telling us how you're addressing it. So not an easy moment, handled beautifully. Thumbs up to Chico Natural Foods.
Go Chico, go Chico.
All right, well, this has been Jacqueline Hanna with Food Co-op Initiative. Thank you for joining us for Food Co-op Now.
Bye, everyone.